Hey guys, Priz here, and welcome on to a very special video for the Launchpad Awards. Today I'll be going over 3 different ways you can make your Launchpad light effects more iconic. The first way you can make your Launchpad light effect be more iconic is have a motive behind it. There could be a variety of reasons behind why you create a certain light effect, but having a specific reason as to why the light effect is shaped the way it is, why the speed of it is the way it is, why the colors you chose make sense with the song, really helps define what kind of story you're trying to tell with the Launchpad. A very simple example of having a motive behind a light effect is when a singer sings heart or love in the lyrics and you simply create a heart type of light effect on the Launchpad, right? You may also have seen that when there's a clock ticking in the background, you see a clock light effect. These are all great examples of simple light effects where you turn something that is in the song and you bring it to real life. So when people try to remember your cover, they may think, that's the cover that has the heart light effect, or that's the cover that has the clock light effect, or maybe even something infinitely more complex. These are all motives and reasons behind creating the light effects you want to, whether it be structure, something like a shape like a clock or a heart, or something more towards of color, which is, the color red, and using that for the rest of the light show. Another way you can create more iconic light effects is to have consistency and a theme behind your light show. Having a consistency per project basis and per page basis really helps to make the light effects more digestible to the viewer and just make it more memorable and iconic. So the best way that I can explain having a theme or consistency around your light effects is in 2 different fashions, right? You have the flow of the light effect, which is like the structure and the shape of it, and then you have the consistency in terms of color. You wouldn't want to have a light show that is, generic explosions, generic light effects in one section, and then completely abstract experimental light effects on a different type of section, but then it's the same song. So right here, I'm just going to create a very generic explosion light effect, right? Now, let's say you want to use this as a build-up light effect, right? A very easy and consistent way to make the cover look good is if you just repeat the light effect. Now, I duplicated the light effect a couple of times. This is what it's going to look like, right? So it's constantly coming from the center of the Launchpad, and so in that way we can always lead our minds to believe, it's constantly coming from the center of the Launchpad. Now, an example of an inconsistency that would be not ideal for a Launchpad light show is, for example, let's say I start off with an explosion light effect, and then I go into something more abstract and abnormal. Like a line light effect, kind of like this in a random, corner of the Launchpad, something like this, right? And you can also already see that just the visual style is completely different and the speed is different. The color is the same though, they're both white light effects, and that's what helps keep consistency. But the color, the flow, the speed, the shape of the light effect all really matter when it comes to trying to create a consistent and iconic and memorable light show. And last but not least, I wanted to say this one for last. Basically, have fun with your light effects. In essence, don't, push yourself so hard to create the perfect light effect all the time. You're going to have many moments where you're wanting to create a light effect for a song or a sound, and it just doesn't necessarily come out, or something, doesn't come to your mind when it comes to creating light effect. And my best advice to that is really just experiment, just have fun creating a light effect. Don't worry so much about the technical side of creating a light effect. Just kind of let your hands flow anywhere it wants to. So one thing I like to do very often is have a general start and end to where I want a light effect to go and the path it takes to reach that destination. So for example, let's say I want to start a light effect on this bottom left corner of the Launchpad right here, and I want it to kind of curve all the way around the Launchpad to here, right? You don't have to, get it perfect and be 4 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1, and then 4 back here, and this creates a perfectly symmetrical C. You can create something that looks like, coming around here and then having a sharp turn and then going straight here. A lot of the times I create my light effects by also just drawing on my Launchpad, something like that, or just creating a general sense of direction. Let's say I wanted to spiral inwards, but like for a very long time, but I can't remember every single button that I didn't use. So I just kind of just like do like generally like kind of like this. And eventually you're going to reach a point where you can kind of see the shape of the light effect and alter it after the fact that you've created just some sort of resemblance of the idea first. Another thing that I would also like to bring up when it comes to experimenting is combining ideas with each other. So let's say you have like a simple explosion light effect, right? But let's say instead of ending it on this last button right here, what if I just instead ended it somewhere in this corner? So something like this coming back, this light effect, you know, it goes up and then it goes down. So you're kind of dissecting this quadrant and just looking only at this part of the light effect, right? It's just a straight line up. Now that I see that it's just this line going straight up, I can make this line go back down as well every frame. So like so. And maybe I can make this reach over to this corner of the launchpad, right? And then now all of a sudden I have something that's kind of, you know, going up and then down into the corner. And I think this is how you create more original light effects as well, is when you combine generic light effects with more creative types of flows. And that also kind of creates more like memorability in terms of something that's familiar, and then you turn it into something that's brand new. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this wonderful special episode of my light effect theory. Whatever launchpad cover or light show that you come up with, you should be proud of what you've created, because this is such a niche hobby and it's so difficult to create something like this. It's so tedious, it's so much work, but it's so worth it. And once you get to that point of kind of just being in the flow of things and working towards creating light effects that you're more satisfied with, it's a very, very fulfilling experience. And I hope that I can help you all reach that point. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace.